One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides onto wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Whistles reporting pace his way. Oh, legend in the making, day by day.
Yes, sir. Another beautiful Thursday morning. Hopefully everyone's enjoying themselves so far. You know what I mean? Look, we have a lot going on. We also have Pentagon. I guess the Pentagon just came out with video proof of what happened over there to Iran's nuclear program. So we have a lot to go ahead and discuss. A lot of things queued up, ready to go. Listen, we have updates, obviously, on the Israel-Iran ceasefire, as well as Pete Hegseth is doing a press conference. We're going to be watching a little bit of that, but it's fairly long, so we're not going to go ahead and watch the entirety of Pete Hegseth and his, ordeal there, his conference, but it is ready to go. We also have the breaking news of Iranian's supreme leader says that they gave, quote, heavy slap to U.S. and claims victory over Israel.
Stop the cap. Emotional damage.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. And then, of course, Hegseth attacks media over Iran nuclear site. Reports come in as it's in your DNA. I mean, that's a quote. And then, of course, we have the video proof of the Pentagon attempts to show proof of Iran nuclear site dismantled. So we have a lot to go through here. Before we get into all of that, make sure you guys come in and hit that like button. Helps out the show immensely. It's the #1 metric of all of YouTube, and it's free to do so. If you guys are brand new to the channel, hit that subscribe button because it's also free. Please consider, though, becoming a member. This is the thing that does cost money, right? But this right here allows us to speak the way that we speak here on the Insane Wheels channel. And we're 100% funded by you guys in the Breakfast Club. And it allows us never to have to cater to views and all that to get paid on YouTube, which is what most creators do on YouTube. So thank you to all of you guys for making that shit happen. Follow my Instagram right here where I post, I post everything behind the scenes of not only my lifestyle, but of, breaking news. You name it, we've got it. Millennial food time, we've got it all, man. So make sure you guys follow me over there. And we also have the Discord link in the chat that Naomi's throwing into the chat right now. But if you guys are watching this on the playback, make sure you guys join the Discord down below in the description below. And last but not least, of course, every super chat, super sticker, gifted membership signups, all these things are, of course, going to be shouted out and presented live onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take, well, we have an option where, we can have 100% of your money, hard-earned money, go to your favorite content creator. So we'll allow these to, of course, scroll for the remainder of the show, and I will have that queued up, ready to go on my side so I don't miss anything. I've got to be very good and fast about the whole Cash App. Oh, speaking of, we got Carney's Ride sending in $5 saying, have a blaze. Yes, sir, I'm going to. Damn well I'm going to. But thank you for making it rain in the Cash App, Carney. I very much appreciate you. But for the rest of the Pocket Watchers out there, you know what I mean?
Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate some freaking.
Shit. Well, good morning to everybody. Hopefully you're all enjoying your morning. We got Hardwire 1%er. Good to see you, my man. And yes, it is my boy Steve Easy. It's his birthday, man. So breaking news. Yes, that's correct. Happy birthday to you, kind sir. Yes, sir. Feels ultra good. We got S&S Contracting in here as well. We got Brother Warlin. Good morning to you guys. We got Tiffany. Good morning. Kitty as well. Good afternoon to you over there in the UK. Good to see you. We're scrolling down. We got Steve Posey, my man. Good morning to you. Papa Penguin. Appreciate you guys so much for hanging out with us. Storming and raining in Tennessee. Yeah, it's going to be for the next 6 days, actually, here where I'm. It's supposed to start today, but it's straight sun right now. I don't see any clouds. We'll see. But it's supposed to be raining for the next 6 days. And I'm like, oh, shit. It feels bad, dude. We got Jack up in here as well. Good morning to you. We got, there you are. We got Kitty on our other channel. Hell yeah. We got Panelverse. Good to see you, Jack. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning as well. Brother So Loud. Much love and respect to you, kind sir, over there from the boondocks of North Carolina, my man. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the craziness. We have a lot to get through here, of course. We're going to go ahead and start off on Iran's nuclear program. What is Pickaxe Mountain? So that is the mountain that hid the nuclear facility, one of the nuclear facilities inside the mountain that we use the bunker busters on. So let's go ahead and figure out, this is in chronological order. We may not even play this whole video, no problem, because we have a lot to get through here. But anyways, let's go ahead and run it.
Welcome back in Alive Now. I'm Austin Westfall, a live look at the White House, where we continue to follow the latest on Iran and the U.S.
That.
President Trump says American and Iranian officials will talk next week. It's giving rise to cautious hope for a longer-term peace.
Thank you, Steve.
This comes amid discussion about how much damage the U.S. actually did to Iran's nuclear program when they struck those 3 facilities on Saturday. Today, the CIA said that the strikes caused severe damage, but yesterday...
Real quick, we got I'll back that out. But we got Naomi sending a $10 Cash App or PayPal saying to let them know we have a raffle in the Discord. Also, because I really needed to get rid of this $10 in quarters. Well, I very much appreciate that, Naomi. Thank you for that. It all adds up, man. So I very much appreciate all your guys' contributions.
Reports said that the strikes only set back Iran's program by a few months. Retired Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery is with the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. He's here. Mark, American and Iranian officials are talking next week. What are they talking about?
What are they talking about?
Well, I hope we're talking about President Trump and his team kind of winning the diplomatic engagement, much like the IDF and the Israeli Defense Force and the U.S. military, delivered a knockout blow militarily. I'm hoping what they talk about is the end of reprocessing in Iran, the end of enrichment in Iran, the end of strategic missile development in Iran, the end of total dismantlement of the Iranian nuclear program. They were soundly defeated there, but the Iranians have.
I did not see that, Steve Easy. I haven't seen any of this yet. Obviously, I haven't watched what the Pentagon has put out yet. It just came out 45 minutes ago, and I was not able to watch it. So we're going to watch it together. But he says, General Kane explains how they had 2 guys working on this underground bunker for 15 years. Holy shit. I did not know that. So that's going to be wild. And yes, real quick, make sure you guys hit that like button. It helps out the show. And also, little side note, tomorrow morning is our membership drive. It's going to be super fun. Make sure you guys hang out with us tomorrow morning. Of course, we're going to, have insane breaking news. And then the very next day, we're going to have members only for you guys on Saturday. So it's going to be a good time. Anyways, back to this
cunning ability to win the peace after losing the war. And we need to make sure we press hard. President Trump needs to hold them accountable for the deceit and the evasion that they practice against the International Atomic Energy Agency, and push them hard in these talks to end their nuclear program.
Damn, Steve.
We'll talk about Israel in a moment, but I've got a few questions about the U.S. and Iran.
Didn't they create? Hold on, that's crazy. Didn't they create that the bunker buster bomb? Didn't they make those in 2015 or something like that? Wow, they were prepared.
Specifically, before we get to that, these are the three areas, as we know, that were struck on Saturday. There was a time a few days ago, Mark, when we were waiting to see how Iran would respond to these strikes. We didn't know how or where they'd retaliate. They ended up targeting a U.S. base in Qatar. All of those missiles were intercepted. No casualties were reported. There were no deaths when the U.S. hit Iran either, by the way. Looking back at the last week, Mark, something historic happened. The U.S. and Iran went directly after each other. Is it fair to say, given how volatile things were at that time, that this has played out relatively well?
What's up, Johnny Reno? Good to see you, my man. Good morning.
I think militarily, yes. I mean, that was a highly successful attack. That was a perfunctory de-escalatory reply by the Iranians. I mean, I would add in they gave the Qataris a phone call to say it's coming. So yes, the militarily it played out. And I just worry.
I bet you a deal is going to be made.
Will the diplomatic game play out as easily as the military? Because the U.S. and Israel walked away from being able to pound Iran. I mean, it was they could have continued what they were doing, and the Iranian replies were generally defeatable.
There's a lot of noise out there about what exactly the type of damage that was done to the nuclear sites in Iran.
Don't worry, we don't even have to speculate on that because we have updates on that, of course. So real quick, I do want to see what the New York Post is posting. Inside Pickaxe Mountain, Iran's secret underground fortress that may be stashing uranium stockpiles.
That's this, Mark. They say a hidden fortress under construction in Iran, known as Pickaxe Mountain, may potentially be housing any uranium stockpiles that Tehran managed to smuggle out before the U.S. bombed its sites. The outlet says the deeply buried installation has been quietly reinforced in recent years. What's your reaction when you hear about Pickaxe?
What? Oh, so this is a different mountain. I thought that's what they were labeling Pickaxe Mountain to be, was the one that we bombed. But I guess this could be another hidden location, it looks like.
Mountain. What more do we need to know about it?
It's legitimate. I mean, it's a known to the U.S. and Israeli intelligence. I think that...
So it is a separate ordeal in a different mountain. Okay, Pickaxe Mountain. Shit.
Things have been moved there, yes. Do I think enough has been moved there to restart an Iranian nuclear program? No. Unless they know how to raise the dead.
They probably don't have any of the fucking, the equipment that you need to have that shit. You can't just have the uranium. You have to have the equipment to enrich this shit. You know what I mean? Real quick, we got Brother Slim, my man, up in the building. Good to see you. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning, as well as Mount High. Yes, sir. We got our left-handed tobacco ready to go. I've been waiting for my kind sir to be showing up so I could be sparking this, you know what I mean? But all right, let's go ahead and get back to this and spark that up.
They've lost way too many scientists to really press forward on
9.
this. They've lost way too many of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Council generals
and the
Iranian army generals who pushed the program. They lost all the data centers and the records that they were keeping associated with the program. The Israelis, before we struck, did a lot of damage. They did years worth of recovery damage. Now, look, that doesn't mean Pickaxe Mountain doesn't have things at it. The IAEA has been unable to visit it. By the way, further indications of the deceptive nature of the Iranians that President Obama and President Biden were warned about, but ignored as they pushed forward for negotiations.
Mark, what if the West decides to target Pickaxe Mountain? Do we know whether B-2s and bunker...
Hell yeah. These could be coming back into play. We got plenty more of them.
Busters are necessary to hit that site as well?
Shit. It's a good question.
It certainly has the look of a massive ordnance penetrator target. I don't know that for a fact, but I would. That strikes me as
correct. That is absolutely correct, Mister. Their range is actually very, very limited. There's only 5 countries in the world that can actually hit any target around the world: Russia, Britain, China, France, and the United States. Those are the 5 countries that can hit anywhere on the planet.
The massive ordnance penetrator target, which would require then a B-2.
I'm reading some reporting that's coming out from the New York Times tonight. They have a piece.
What's up, Mister? Good morning.
Where
Gary
is the Ayatollah?
Are we not, man? Good morning.
That's one of the top questions right now. My understanding was in the immediate 24 hours after the U.S. strike, we didn't hear anything from the Supreme Leader. What have we heard from him since? And do you also have that?
Well, we've actually got that ready to go. And so we'll go ahead and end that there. We'll go ahead and hear the breaking news of what the Iranian's Supreme Leader has to say. This is 3 hours ago. We're going to go ahead and present that to you guys right here, right now. It was breaking news 3 hours ago. Let's go ahead and get it.
7:15 here on the East Coast. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox, and good morning to you if you're just now tuning in. I'm Jeanne Francine. This Thursday morning, just into our Live Now from Fox newsroom, we are following some breaking news. Take a good look at your screen. This just in from the Associated Press. They say, quote, breaking news, Iran Supreme Leader makes first public statement since ceasefire declared in Israel-Iran war. The Associated Press, they go on to report this Thursday morning, Iran Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei claimed victory over Israel this Thursday in his first...
He claims victory over Israel, bro? Like, come on.
Not the cap.
There's no way that you guys are claiming victory. Okay, the numbers are being reported from 28 to 28, or 24 to 28 Israelis were unfortunately killed from this whole ordeal. That's their number. And then on the opposite side, it's like 700. Who had more damage? Who had more deaths? What are you talking about, Iran? There's no way that anybody believes that shit. We claim victory over Israel. Yeah, stop the cap, yo.
Public statement since a ceasefire was declared in the war between the two countries. Khamenei hasn't been seen in public since taking shelter in a secret location after the outbreak of the war June 13th, when Israel attacked Iranian nuclear facilities and targeted top military commanders and scientists. Following a massive American attack on June 22nd that hit the nuclear sites with bunker buster bombs, U.S. President Donald Trump was able to help negotiate a ceasefire that came into effect Tuesday. Khamenei did release a video message back on June 19th during the war, and Iranian state television and the Supreme Leader's own social media pages announced that he would be releasing another video message to Iran this Thursday.
Shit.
We did see that video.
My man, Hardwire sent in, man, see, this is what happens when I look down, well, I look up and I'm like focused on this for a sec, and then I lose complete control. Yo, my man Hardwire sending in a $10 Cash App, by the way, saying, see you in 1 week, brother Mike. Hell yeah, bro. I can't wait. It's going to be such a great time. It's going to be such a great time, dude. But thank you for making it rain, Hardwire, in the Cash App, my man. That goes very far for us over here.
A message here on Live Now from Fox, but those remarks were not in English.
What's up, Miss
In
Lotus?
his first comment posted on X, which we do want to transition to show you, he offered his, quote, congratulations on the victory over Israel. You see it in real time on your screen. That from Iran Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. He says, quote, this Thursday morning, I offer my congratulations on the victory over the fallacious Zionist regime. Khamenei having other tweets as well. Take a look. He says, quote, with all that commotion. And
this shit is such cope. The amount of cope is insane.
All those claims, the Zionist regime was practically knocked out and crushed under the blows of the Islamic Republic.
Who are you fooling? You must be trying to cater to, like, the Supreme Leader is obviously catering to his own people over there. Like, he's got to think that, like, these guys have never seen shit on the internet. I mean, it's kind of hard to stop social media, even as a major country. It's very hard to stop information because, listen, this type of warfare is not that in that kind of regard of like, but listen, it's an information warfare time frame. That's everything is information based right now. So, are you thinking that your own people are retarded? Are you thinking that they're ignorant to the situation? What do you guys think in the chat?
On X this morning, he says, quote, my congratulations on our dear Iran's victory over the U.S. regime. The U.S. regime entered the war directly because it felt that if it didn't, the Zionist regime would be completely destroyed. It entered the war in an effort to save...
Dude, there's no way that the Zionist regime could be completely destroyed in the first fucking place. There's no way. Because the United States is going to make sure that that does not happen, dude. What are you talking about?
But achieved nothing. Another one coming in, my producer flagging me. This one says, quote, the Islamic Republic delivered a heavy slap in the U.S.'s face. It attacked and inflicted damage on the Al Udeid Air Base, which is one of the key U.S. bases in the region. And we do have one more from Khamenei this Thursday morning on X saying, quote, the fact that the Islamic Republic has access to key U.S. centers in the region and can take action whenever it deems necessary is a significant matter. Such an action can be repeated in the future too. Should any aggression occur, the enemy will definitely pay a heavy price. So again, these are the latest remarks this Thursday morning from Iran Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei as he did claim victory over Israel this Thursday in his first public statement since a ceasefire was declared in the war between the two countries.
Such cap, bro. Oh my God, it's so rough to listen to. We got Sick Bastard up in the building. Good morning to you, kind sir. Good to see you, as well as Joseph saying, good morning, Mr. Ball, Lucy, Breakfast Crew, Bob, and can't forget the hater. Stop the cap. Yes, sir.
Stop the cap.
Good to see you, my man. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning as well. Brother GEG over there on the West Coast. Good to see you, my man. All right, so let's go ahead and move this on over. Real quick, we have, so before we get into the Pentagon, because that just came out 59 minutes ago, and we're going to end off on that because that is the video proof that the Pentagon puts out to show proof of Iran nuclear sites being dismantled. Sorry, I had a retard moment. Anyways, but we're going to get into Hegseth first. Hegseth attacks media over Iran nuclear site. Reports, quote, it's in your DNA. I'm not really sure what they're specifically talking about in the DNA aspect, but we're going to find out together. Let's go ahead and bring this up. Bam. Let's hear it out. We're going to bring back the playback speed. We're probably not going to play out this whole thing. I can tell you for sure we're not going to.
Big, momentous moments get missed. What President Trump accomplished in NATO yesterday was game-changing and historic. A shift in burden sharing to European responsibility in NATO that most would have said was impossible at the beginning of his term. But he said NATO needs to pay up. They started in the first term, and here in his second term, we've accelerated that. 32 NATO countries committed to spending 5% of their GDP on defense, on actually investing in the NATO alliance. So I hope with all the ink spilled, all of your outlets find the time.
It's kind of true that Trump is just continuing to just win. You know, it's kind of actually radical.
To properly recognize this historic change in continental security. That other presidents tried to do, other presidents talked about.
No, and he really made that shit happen over there at NATO yesterday. It was impressive.
President Trump accomplished it. It's a huge deal. You see, we're here this morning because in hunting...
Of course Spain is. Every country is going to try to weasel out of their 5%.
Scandals all the time. In trying to find wedges and spin stories, this press corps and the press corps miss historic moments. You miss historic moments like 5% at NATO, which when you hear, I was in the closed door briefing. I wish there could have been cameras in there. When you heard the prime ministers and presidents of other countries, to a man and to a woman, looking at President Trump and saying, this never could have happened. Never would have happened. It seemed impossible 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 8 years ago. But here we are because of your leadership. If you ask them the question, I bet they'd say the same thing. But searching for scandals, you miss historic moments like recruiting at the Pentagon. Historic levels in the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy. Yeah, maybe there'll be a little mention here or there, but because it was under President Trump's leadership, because Americans are responding to him as commander-in-chief, the press corps doesn't want to write about it. Or bring us to
that part is true. Those media outlets don't want to show any type of positive side that Trump does. We just show what is happening here. You know what I mean? We just show the facts. And on both sides of the equation. On both sides of the equation, we show the facts.
To the topic of the moment, the highly successful strikes in Iran. Let me read the bottom line here. President Trump directed the most complex and secretive military operation in history. It was a resounding success, resulting in a ceasefire agreement and the end of the 12-day war. There's been a lot of discussion about what happened and what didn't happen. Step back for a second. Because of decisive military action, President Trump created the conditions to end the war, decimating, choose your word, obliterating, destroying Iran's nuclear capabilities. I want to read some of the assessments that have been provided because whether it's fake news, CNN, MSNBC, or the New York Times, there's been fawning coverage of a preliminary assessment. I've had a chance to read it. Every outlet has breathlessly reported on a preliminary assessment from DIA. I'm looking at it right now. Again, it was preliminary, a day and a half after the actual strike. When
Pete is very good at speaking with that type of engaging tone and all of that, his body language. He's very good at grabbing your attention when he's speaking. He's definitely good at that. He's always been good at that.
Admits itself in writing that it requires weeks to accumulate the necessary data to make such an assessment. It's preliminary.
But he's super hyped because he knows that he's actually right. You know what I mean? On this one, he knows he's right. That's why he's hyped as well.
It points out that it's not been coordinated with the intelligence community at all. There's low confidence in this particular report. It says in the report, there are gaps in the information. It says in the report, multiple linchpin assumptions are what this assessment a linchpin assumption. You know what that is? That means your entire premise is predicated on a linchpin. If you're wrong, everything else is wrong. And yet, still, this report acknowledges it's likely severe damage. Again, this is preliminary, but leaked because someone had an agenda to try to muddy the waters and make it look like this historic strike wasn't successful. I'm going to get to the chairman in a moment because he's going to lay out the particulars for you based on his professional military experience. But here's what other folks are saying. The DIA that put that report out says that this is a preliminary low confidence report and will continue to be refined as additional intelligence becomes available. How about the Israeli Atomic Energy Commission? The devastating U.S. strikes on Fordow destroyed the site's critical infrastructure and rendered the enrichment facility inoperable. Have any of these quotes made their way into the New York Times or the Washington Post?
Yeah.
MSNBC?
Yeah.
CNN? Any of these quotes? How about this one? This is a new one from the UN, the United Nations. No friend of the United States, or certainly Israel often. Here's the head of the UN Atomic Energy Agency this morning, Rafael Grossi. U.S. and Israeli strikes caused enormous damage to Iran's nuclear sites.
Enormous.
Don't take my word for it. How about the IDF's chief of staff? I can say here that the assessment is that we significantly damaged the nuclear program, setting it back by years. I repeat, years. The Iranian foreign minister, the spokesman, our nuclear installations have been badly damaged, that's for sure. I'm sure that's an understatement. John Radcliffe, the director of the CIA, putting out a statement just last night. CIA can confirm that a body of credible intelligence indicates Iran's nuclear program has been severely damaged by recent targeted strikes. This includes new intelligence from a historically reliable, very different than preliminary assessment with low confidence. He's saying historically reliable and accurate source and method that several key Iranian nuclear—
What's up, Rabbit of Chaos? Good to see you this morning.
Nuclear facilities were destroyed and would have to be rebuilt over the course of years. CIA continues to collect additional reliably sourced information to keep appropriate decision makers fully informed. How about DNI Tulsi Gabbard yesterday? She writes, and I quote, "New intelligence confirms what POTUS has stated numerous times. Iran's nuclear facilities have been destroyed." Institute for Science and International Security President David Albright, overall, Israel and U.S. attacks have effectively destroyed Iran's centrifuge enrichment program. Time and time again, I can go down the list. Those that understand, those that see, those that do proper assessments recognize that what the United States military did was historic. And again, before I pass it to the chairman, because you, and I mean specifically you, the press, specifically you, the press corps, because you cheer against Trump so hard. In your DNA and in your blood to cheer against Trump.
Oh, it's in your DNA. That's what the quote is coming out from. I get it.
Because you want him not to be successful so bad, you have to cheer against the efficacy of these strikes. You have to hope.
How can I be myself if you're counting my know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? Shit.
Maybe they weren't effective. Maybe the way the Trump administration has represented them isn't true. So let's take half-truths, spun information, leaked information, and then spin it. Spin it in every way we can to try to cause doubt and manipulate the public mind over whether or not our—
What's up, Frederick Frame? Good morning.
Brave pilots were successful. How many stories have been written about how hard it is to, I don't know, fly a plane for 36 hours? Has MSNBC done that story? Has Fox? Have we done the story how hard that is? Have we done it 2 or 3 times so that American people understand how difficult it is to shoot a drone from an F-15 or 16 or F-22 or F-35? Or what it's like to man a Patriot battery? Or how hard it is to refuel midair, giving the American people an understanding of how complex and sophisticated this mission really was. There are so many aspects of what our brave men and women did that because of the hatred of this press corps are undermined because your people—
they had this fucking planned out for so many years. And that's why they executed it perfectly, because it's been, it's been in the back of their minds for like forever. I guarantee it at this point. If they specifically made this ammunition, meaning the bunker buster bomb, for the specific attack, it's absolutely mind-blowing to think about that, because I believe those bunker buster bombs were made in like 2015. So that means they've had like 10 years of like ready to go on this kind of mission.
People are trying to leak and spin that it wasn't successful. It's
That's some Israeli type level shit.
Responsible. And folks in this room are privy to that information because of the proximity here in the Pentagon. It's an important responsibility. And time again, classified information is leaked or peddled for political purposes to try to make the president look bad. And what's really happening is you're undermining the success of incredible B-2 pilots and incredible F-35 pilots and incredible refuelers and incredible air defenders who accomplished their mission, set back a nuclear program in ways that other presidents would have dreamed. How about we celebrate that? How about we talk about how special America is, that only we have these capabilities? I think it's too much to ask, unfortunately, for the fake news. So we're used to that. But we also have an opportunity to stand at the podium and read the truth.
I can't wait to watch it. We're all going to watch it together, Steve. And Steve says Kane explains all about it. We got it queued up, ready to go. So
what's really happening. And the reality is, you want to call it destroyed, you want to call it defeated, you want to call it obliterated. Choose your word. This was an historically successful attack. We should celebrate it as Americans. And it gives us a chance to have peace, chance to have a deal, and an opportunity to prevent a nuclear Iran, which is something President Trump talked about for 20 years. And no other.
What's up, Brother Lee? Good morning, kind sir. And he sends in $1 on the Cash App for the dues, man. He says, keep me in your prayers. G, absolutely, bro. We definitely are thinking about you always, man. So make sure you keep us updated, you and Tiffany over there, as much as possible, in the Discord where we all can, see and hang out with you guys.
Presidents had the courage to actually do. So with that, I want to hand it over to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. They've done technical analysis on this, not just on the strike, but also on our Patriot defenders and al-Udeid.
Well, here we go.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and good morning, and all of you. Thank you for being here.
I didn't realize that this was all at the Pentagon where Hegseth was doing this ordeal. So this makes a lot of sense. So here we go.
Follow up to my comments on Sunday's press conference. I wanted to give you a few updates this morning on something I'm honored to do as a chairman, and that's a chance to get to talk about some of our service members and the incredible things that they do on behalf of our nation. And I apologize ahead of time for the length and the detail. Today, I'm going to brief you on a couple things. First, I'm going to talk about our air defenders at al-Udeid in Qatar and their actions on Monday. Then I'm going to walk you through a little bit about the academics that went into the attack against Fordo, the massive ordnance penetrator weapon, and we're going to show a video that highlights the effects that weapon has. Of course, nobody was down inside the target, so we don't have video from the target. First, on Monday, as the president has stated, on Monday morning, we began to receive indications and warnings that Iran intended to attack U.S. bases in the region. That morning, building on the work that CENTCOM Commander Eric Kurilla had done, and on the orders of the president, al-Udeid Air Base in Qatar and around the region, we assumed a minimum force posture. Most folks had moved off the base to extend the security perimeter out away from what we assessed might be a target zone, except for a very few Army soldiers at al-Udeid. At that point, only 2 Patriot batteries remained on base. Roughly 44 American soldiers.
What's up, brother Ron Rowdy over there in Down Under, in Australia? Good to see you, my man.
Responsible for defending the entire base, to include CENTCOM's forward headquarters in the Middle East, an entire air base, and all the U.S. forces there. The oldest soldier was a 28-year-old captain. The youngest was a 21-year-old private who'd been in the military for less than 2 years. So let's put ourselves out there for a second. Imagine you're that young first lieutenant, you're 25 or 26 years old, and you've been assigned as the tactical director inside the command and control element. You, at that age, are the sole person responsible to defend this base. Listening next to you is your early warning operator, whose job is to notify you of imminent attack. There's 5 people inside a vehicle and 5 people outside of a vehicle around these, a total of, as I said, 44. By the way, you've sat in the Middle East for years, deployed over and over again, extended multiple times, always being prepared, but unsure of when that particular day will come that you must execute your mission and not fail at doing it. In this case, these Patriot crews were deployed from Korea and Japan as part of our U.S. forces there to ensure that we had the most capable missiles in the CENTCOM area of responsibility.
Morning.
As the day continues, you start to hear more and more chatter in the information space about a pending attack. And as the sun starts to set in the west, you get orders from your higher headquarters to make sure that your missile batteries are pointed to the north. There are just a few other teammates. It's hot. You're getting nervous, and you expect an attack. Outside of those Patriot vehicles, your hot crew, which is 1 NCO and 4 additional soldiers, turns a key and relinquishes control of those missiles to.
Man, really quick, we got a special shout out to, send out. Miss Lotus sends in a $10 Cash App, man, saying, thank you for always keeping me updated. Well, thank you so much for the contributions to the channel. Seriously, thank you. Man, making it rain over here. I very much appreciate that, Miss Lotus, and good morning to you. Very much appreciate that.
That young lieutenant inside the vehicle, and you wait. You know that you're going to have approximately 2 minutes, 120 seconds to either succeed or fail. And then at approximately 12:30 p.m. on Monday, that's 7:30 p.m. in Qatar, as the sun sets in the west, Iran attacks. As the targets were detected, round after round of Patriot missiles are ejected from their canisters by an initial launch charge. Then the main solid rocket motor ignites. You can feel this in your body if you've ever been around a Patriot taking a shot. And round after round goes out and guides against those missiles coming inbound. We believe that this is the largest single Patriot engagement in U.S. military history. And we were joined in this engagement by the Qatari Patriot crews. I'm not going to tell you how many rounds were shot, but it was a bunch because of classified purposes. And we're aware that there's reports of something getting through. What we do know is there was a lot of metal flying around between attacking missiles being hit by Patriots, boosters from attacking missiles being hit by Patriots, the Patriots themselves flying around, and the debris from those Patriots hitting the ground. There was a lot of metal flying around. And yet our U.S. air defenders had only seconds to make complex decisions with strategic impact. These awesome humans, along with their Qatari brothers and sisters in arms, stood between a salvo of Iranian missiles and the safety of Al Udeid. They are the unsung heroes of the 21st century United States Army. And I know a lot of you have seen the videos online and the excitement as those Patriots departed their launchers and went up and guided. This really demonstrates the combat capability and capacity of our Army air defenders. Simply stated, they absolutely crushed it. If you'd flip this over
real quick, we got a PayPal, man. I'm not gonna say your full name, but it doesn't show that your name in the description there. But John sends in $5 USD, my man. I very much appreciate that. Have a good stream. God bless, man. God bless you. I very much appreciate you, kind sir. Thank you for the donation. Sincerely. That shit goes a long fucking way, man. I just gotta let everybody know. Stuff like that goes a super, super long way. So thank you for making it rain. I very much appreciate that.
Thanks. Let me next move to a walkthrough of the GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator weapon and share a little bit about the planners who did this and their work on the weapon. First, let me set the stage for you. There's an organization in the U.S. called the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, DTRA. DTRA does a lot of things for our nation, but DTRA is the world's leading expert on deeply buried underground targets. In 2009, a Defense Threat Reduction Agency officer was
2009
brought into a vault at an undisclosed location and briefed on something going on in Iran. For security purposes, I'm not going to share his name. He was shown some photos and some highly classified intelligence of what looked like a major construction project in the mountains of Iran. He was tasked to study this facility, work with the intelligence community to understand it, and he was soon joined by an additional teammate.
Wow. So this has been going on since 2009, where we've been collecting intel on this shit. Holy fuck. And then he eventually gets another guy that's working with him. But these two guys are going to be left unnamed here. Absolutely. Oh, Gorilla Biscuits. Okay, so Gorilla Biscuits send in another $5, by the way. Shit, man, he's correcting me on that. He's not even correcting me in chat. He's correcting me on PayPal, dude. I love that. He says, you can call me Gorilla Biscuits. Seriously, God bless. Y'all have a good day. Man, I very much appreciate you, man. Thank you again. Making it rain. But this shit is crazy. This shit is crazy. Dude, this is crazy. This is crazy. This is absolutely wild. All right, back to this.
For more than 15 years, this officer and his teammate lived and breathed this single target, Fordo, a critical element of Iran's covert nuclear weapons program. He studied the geology. He watched the Iranians dig it out. He watched the construction, the weather, the discard material, the geology, the construction materials, where the materials came from. He looked at the vent shaft, the exhaust shaft, the electrical systems, the environmental control systems, every nook, every crater, every piece of equipment going in and every piece of equipment going out. They literally dreamed about this target at night when they slept. They thought about it driving back and forth to work, and they knew from the very first days what this was for. You do not build a multi-layered underground bunker complex with centrifuges and other equipment in a mountain for any peaceful purpose. They weren't able to discuss this with their family, their wives, their kids, their friends, but they just kept grinding it out. And along the way,
and this is some Israeli level type shit right here. This is insane. This is absolutely insane.
They realized we did not have a weapon that could adequately strike and kill this target. So they began a journey to work with industry and other tacticians to develop the GBU-57. They tested it over and over again.
So they created the bunker buster bomb specifically for this facility. Holy fuck.
Adequately strike and kill this target. So they began a journey to work with industry and other tacticians to develop the GBU-57. They tested it over and over again, tried different options, tried more after that.
Wow.
They accomplished hundreds of test shots and dropped many full-scale weapons against extremely realistic targets for a single purpose: kill this target at the time and place of our nation's choosing.
Wow.
And then, on a day in June of 2025, more than 15 years after they started their life's work, the phone rang and the President of the United States ordered the B-2 force that you've supported to go strike and kill this target. Yesterday, I had the incredible honor and privilege of spending time with these two Defense Threat Reduction Agency officers who've given so much. One of them said, quote, "I can't even get my head around this. My heart is so filled with the pride of being a part of this team. I am so honored to be a part of this. To you both, thank you, and thank you to your families." Operation Midnight Hammer was the culmination of those.
I'm not going to lie. I am absolutely mind blown right now.
You and thank you to your families. Operation Midnight Hammer was the culmination of those 15 years of incredible work. The air crews, the tanker crews, the weapons crews that built the weapons, the load crews that loaded it. Before I run through this video today, I want to talk a little bit about weaponeering and what goes into an attack. Weaponeering is the science of evaluating a target. I mentioned all of those factors before that these two DTRA officers had thought about. Ultimately, weaponeering is determining the right weapon and fuse combination to achieve the desired effects and maximum destruction against a target. In the case of Fordo, the DTRA team understood with a high degree of confidence.
Yo, chatting with Stacks. Good morning, kind sir. This is fucking insane. If you have any interest on what happened with the United States dropping those bunker buster bombs over there in Iran for the nuclear facilities, you need to watch this.
The elements of the target required to kill its functions, and the weapons were designed, planned, and delivered to ensure that they achieve the effects in the mission space. By the way, in the beginning of its development, we had so many PhDs working on the MOP program, doing modeling and simulation, that we were quietly and in a secret way the biggest users of supercomputer hours within the United States of America. So let me talk about the graphic a little bit. And the GBU-57, which all of you I know is a 30,000 pound weapon dropped only by the B-2. It's comprised of steel, explosive, and a fuse, programmed bespokely, each weapon to achieve a particular effect inside the target. Each weapon had a unique desired impact angle, arrival, final heading, and a fuse setting. The fuse is effectively what tells the bomb.
Well, the fuse is inside, and it hits, goes down below, can go down as far as 200 feet, as they say, and then it explodes, which is the fuse doing the job on the inside.
To function. A longer delay in a fuse, the deeper the weapon will penetrate and drive into the target. So on Fordo, in June of 2008, you can see these three holes depicted here is the main.
In 2008, when they were testing this shit, I guarantee it.
Exhaust shaft with two additional ventilation shafts on either side. The United States decided to strike these two ventilation shafts, as seen here on the main graphic, as the primary point of entry into the mission space. In the days preceding the attack against Fordo, the Iranians attempted to cover the shafts with concrete to try to prevent an attack. I won't share the specific dimensions of the concrete cap, but you should know that we know what the dimensions of those concrete caps were.
Holy shit.
The planners had to account for this. They accounted for everything.
Lawrence, good morning.
The cap was forcibly removed by the first weapon, and the main shaft was uncovered. Weapons 2, 3, 4, 5 were tasked to enter the main shaft, move down into the complex at greater than 1,000 feet per second, and explode in the mission space. Weapon number 6 was designed on each side, so there were 6 on each side. Weapons number 6 was designed as a flex weapon to allow us to cover if one of the preceding jets or one of the preceding weapons did not work. The video I'm about to show you is a culmination of over 15 years of development and testing. As I said, hundreds of test shots on various models. This is one weapon. So if you take a view of this as 5 additionals, you'll get a sense of what this looks like. Hopefully you can see it and there's not too much reflection. Tom runs our videos out there. We'll run it at full speed so you can see it and then go back through it. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, this is nuts. This is nuts that they have this much intel. Look, there's a video. Bro, they built these bombs specifically for this operation. And they started this shit back in like 2008, 2009. What in the fuck? This is a humongous W for America, dude. No kidding. That prepared? Damn. What's the left got to say now about that shit? What does CNN got to say? Uh-oh. New York Times, what do you want to say? Shit.
Keep it going for a minute. You'll see inside the mission space.
Inside the mission space. What the fuck?
Unlike a normal surface bomb, you won't see an impact crater because they're designed to deeply bury and then function. I know there's been a lot of questions about that. All 6 weapons at each vent at Fordo went exactly where they were intended to go. A bomb has 3 effects that causes damage: blast, fragmentation, and overpressure. In this case, the primary kill mechanism in the mission space was a mix of overpressure and blast, ripping through the open tunnels and destroying critical hardware. The majority of the damage we assessed based on our extensive modeling was a blast layer combined with the impulse extending from the shock. Imagine what this looks like 6 times over. A point that I want to make here: the Joint Force does not do BDA. By design, we don't grade our own homework. The intelligence community does. But here's what we know following the attacks and the strikes on Fordo. First, that the weapons were built, tested, and loaded properly. 2, the weapons were released on speed and on parameters. 3, the weapons all guided to their intended targets and to their intended aim points. 4, the weapons functioned as designed, meaning they exploded. And we know this through other means, intelligence means that we have, that we're visibly able to see them. And we know that the trailing jets saw the first weapons function, and the pilots stated, quote, "This was the brightest explosion that I've ever seen. It literally looked like daylight." Let me now turn to the bomber crews themselves, give you a few details about them. The crews that attacked Fordo were from the active duty Air Force and the Missouri Air National Guard. The crews ranked from captain to colonel, and most were graduates of the Air Force Weapons School headquartered at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada. I will state for the record that there is no beach volleyball or football at the Air Force Weapons School. There were male and female aviators on this mission, and a crew member told me when I talked to them on video the other day that this felt like the Super Bowl, the thousands of scientists, airmen, and maintainers all coming together.
Wow.
One last story about people. When the crews went to work on Friday, they kissed their loved ones goodbye, not knowing when or if they'd be home. Late on Saturday night, their families became aware of what was happening. And on Sunday, when those jets returned from Whiteman, their families were there.
This shit's nuts.
Flags flying and tears flowing. I have chills literally talking about this. The jets rejoined into a formation of 4 airplanes, followed by a formation of 3, and came up overhead Whiteman, proudly in the traffic pattern, pitching out to land right over the base and landing to the incredible cheers of their families who sacrifice and serve right alongside their family members. Like I said, there were a lot of flags and a lot of tears. One commander told me this is a moment in the lives of our families that they will never forget. That, my friends, is what America's Joint Force does. We think, We develop, we train, we rehearse, we test, we evaluate every single day. And when the call comes to deliver, we do so. I could not be more proud standing up here today of our joint force. I'm filled with gratitude that I get to tell their story. And as we stand here right now, our forces remain on a high state of readiness in the region, prepared to defend themselves. And one last thing, our adversaries around the world should know that there are other DTRA team members out there studying targets for the same amount of time. And we'll continue to do so. Thank you very much. I apologize for the length. I look forward to your questions.
Wow.
Mr. Chairman, I would just
that was amazing.
Thank you, by the way, for that extensive work to lay down. I mean, even, do you have that laser pointer? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Swearing me away as always. I mean, even in just the public reporting, if you see the post-strike shaft of the 3 holes, the vast majority, and fairly so, the vast majority of speculation has been those are the 3 strike points. When in actuality, what you realize is these are the vents, these are the caps. The first munition took the cap off, and the other 5 went down the center hole, which if you're planning the target, you would want it to be the direct one going to the bottom. These are the types of things that go into the planning for a strike that the Pentagon would not expect the press corps, the American people to initially understand. So
yeah,
laying
of course. That's way above our pay grade.
Information out is helpful, but it's also why we ask for a beat, for a moment, for a day or 2, the opportunity to tell that story, because as the chairman said, these men and women that did this mission, they just want to do their job. They're not expecting their story to be told. They're not expecting the glory. They are grateful for the flags and the hugs of family. That's why they do the job. But they also know they were part of something historic. We know how historic it was. The chairman does. I know our staffs know. And so that's why we are, and the president of the United States knows. And that's why it's almost personal when we see the way in which leaks are used to try to disparage the outcome or muddy the waters about the impact of what happened without being responsible with information and allowing the professionals to assess and provide that information just like the chairman did. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, for that information. And we welcome a few additional questions. Yes, sir.
General, on Sunday, you said final battle damage will take some time. And you also said, I think BDA is still pending, and it would be way too early for me to comment on what may or may not still be there at the nuclear facility. So that was just over 3 days ago. So what has changed?
How do these questions go, Steve? Is it worth watching the questions?
Would you use the term obliterated as well?
Sure. Like I said, we don't do BDA. I'll refer that to the intelligence community. And
you're talking with them. I mean, what changed in the past 3 days and make you so, you know?
Sir, I think I said.
I think I explained what changed. There was a great deal of irresponsible reporting based on leaks, preliminary information in low confidence. Again, when someone leaks something, they do it with an agenda.
True.
And when you leak a portion of an intelligence assessment, but just a little portion that makes it seem like maybe the strike wasn't effective, then you start a news cycle, whether it's the Washington Post or Fox News or CNN or MSNBC, you start a news cycle that starts to call into question the efficacy. Well, that's why. So you bring the chairman here, who's not involved in politics. He doesn't do politics. That's my lane to understand and translate and talk about those types of things. So I can use the word obliterated. He could use defeat, destroyed, assess, all of those things. But ultimately, we're here to clarify what these weapons are capable of, which anyone with two eyes, some ears, and a brain can recognize that kind of firepower with that specificity at that location and others is going to have a devastating effect.
And the amount of intel and how long they've been doing this for 15 years.
So we all recognize there will be days and weeks ahead. That's why yesterday I said, if you want to know what's going on at Fordo, you better go there and get a big shovel. Because no one's under there right now. No one's under there able to assess, and everyone's using reflections of what they see. And that's why the Israelis, the Iranians, the IAEA, the UN, to a man and to a woman who recognize the capability.
Hey, man, we got Brother Dwayne, my man. Good to see you. And remember, rubber side down, shiny side up. Absolutely. And make that trip safe, man.
This weapon system are acknowledging how destructive it's been. So that's what's changed.
Just 3 or 4 days later. What
see, this is a point. This is how difficult it is to actually manage. You just watched a video of what this weapon is capable of. That's where we find our confidence, is in the skill of men and women and the capability of the systems they employed and the recognition so far in the reflections that it was a highly successful mission.
Sure. I think you could, I'd say go out. The IC should be able to help you answer that question. They look at a variety, as the secretary has alluded to, we look at a variety of things. I don't do that. They do all different sources of intel, which I'd refer you to them to get clarity on the instance.
So again, I go back to the IC, whether it's Director Radcliffe or ODNI Gabbard. I read the statements at the beginning. They're the ones.
Okay. So I think that's good enough for us on the ordeal there, the press conference. The last thing that I do have for you guys right here, let me go ahead and pull this up. And also let me double check my words that this is the last story. It is. Okay. And it's very quick. It's only 2.5 minutes long. So let's go ahead and pull this up for you guys. This looks interesting. Supreme Court ruling allows states to cut off Medicaid funding to Planned Parenthood.
I do want to head over to some breaking news at this
Breaking
time. Take
news.
a look at this.
This is
The
happening
Supreme Court
57 minutes ago. Breaking news 57 minutes ago. And we'll bring back the playback speed.
now allowing states to cut off Medicaid funding to Planned Parenthood. This is part of several of those decisions that we have been waiting for on this Thursday. Taking a live look here just outside of the Supreme Court, where you can see several people are gathered there protesting. I do want to read the latest report here from the Associated Press.
You got to expect
As it says this, the Supreme Court allowed states to cut off Medicaid money to Planned Parenthood in a ruling handed down Thursday amid a wider Republican-backed push to defund the country's biggest abortion provider. The case centers on funding for other healthcare services Planned Parenthood provides in South Carolina, but the ruling could have broader implications for Medicaid patients. Public health care money generally can't be used to pay for abortions. Medicaid patients go to Planned Parenthood for things like contraception, cancer screenings, and pregnancy testing, in part because it can be tough to find a doctor who takes the publicly funded insurance, according to the organization. South Carolina's Republican governor says no taxpayer money should go to the organization. The budget bill backed by President Trump and Congress would also cut Medicaid funding to Planned Parenthood. That could force the closure of about 200 centers, most of them in states where abortion is legal, according
to you. What's up, Chairman of the Board? Good to see you, Brother Anson. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning so far.
Again, to the organization. The governor, Henry McMaster, first moved to cut off Medicaid funding to Planned Parenthood in 2018, but was blocked in court after a lawsuit from a patient named Julie Edwards. Edwards wanted to keep going there for birth control because her diabetes makes pregnancy potentially dangerous. So she sued over a provision in Medicaid law that allows patients to choose their own qualified provider. South Carolina, though, argued that patients should not be able to file those lawsuits. The state pointed to lower courts that have been swayed by similar arguments and allowed states such as Texas to block Medicaid funding from Planned Parenthood. Public health groups like the American Cancer Society, by contrast, said in court papers that lawsuits are the only real way that Medicaid patients have been able to enforce their right to choose their own doctor. Losing that right would reduce access to health care for people on the program, which is estimated to include 1/4 of everyone in the country. In South Carolina, $90,000 in Medicaid funding goes to Planned Parenthood every year, a tiny fraction of the state's total Medicaid spending. The state banned abortion at about 6 weeks gestation after the High Court overturned it as a nationwide right back in 2022.
Shit. Well, that's fucking crazy. All right. Let me go ahead and bring that out. That is the end of the news segment for this morning, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you guys stick around because we're going to be rating our buddy Carney. He's live right now, so make sure you guys stick around for that. And real quick, I very much appreciate all of your guys' contributions, whether it was donations, you guys engaging in the chat, leaving comments, hitting that like button. Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. I very much appreciate that. For more of the breaking news, as always, what we do over there on Instagram is we constantly are breaking news and all the personal things behind my life as well. So make sure you guys follow that. Make sure you guys also join the Discord server. Naomi will throw it into the chat for anybody in the playback. Make sure you guys hit the video description and it's in there. So make sure you guys join up. We continue the conversation there and it's a whole bunch of family there. So listen, much love, honor, respect to everybody. Stick around for the raid, and we'll see you guys tomorrow morning for more of the World's Madness and also a membership drive for all the Breakfast Clubs. It's going to be a good time. Make sure you guys show up for that shit. But until tomorrow morning, God bless, and we'll see you guys. Much love.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit. He rides onto wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his stand, refusing to submit.